It's time for the Douglas Coleman Show. Mr. Smooth and Savvy is joined by guests from all walks of life, from the entertainment industry to authors to political and social commentators, the famous and not so famous, the controversial and the light and fluffy. We have it all. Now, here's Douglas Coleman.
Well, hello there, heidi ho there. Welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show. It's me, Douglas Coleman. How are you? We've got Jeff Brandeis here today. Jeff is a sales coach and author, and he is the founder and CEO of Brandeis Training Solutions, which helps companies and firms increase their sales, which is what everyone wants to do, I suspect. He's also got a book out called Becoming a RainMaker, a guide for accountants and CPAs. He will tell us about that and tell us a bit about his teaching technique. After the interview, we've got 2 tracks to play from MusicSubmit.com. Thank you to everybody who has been submitting on Music Submit. We are getting lots of great music and are always happy to play it. First track up is called Glam by the Incurables, followed by Down That Road by Ghost Town Ramblers. Just a quick note, the Douglas Coleman Show offers audio and video promotional packages for music artists and video promotional packages for authors. Please see our website for complete details. Go to douglascolemanshow.com. So we will be right back with Jeff Brandeis.
You're listening to Mr. Smooth and Savvy right here on the Douglas Coleman Show. We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Hi there, this is Stuart Epps, record producer. This is my story about Elton John, working with him in those early years, going back to 1967 at Dick James, all the amazing tours, those first recordings, going through to Rocket Records. And it's an amazing story about his incredible rise to stardom and my part in that. So look forward to taking you on that journey. So here we go. Yeah, and to order this great audio CD, please just email me at stuartepps@talk21.com. That's Stuart, S-T-U-A-R-T, Epps, E-P-P-S, at talk, T-A-L-K, 21 in figures.com. Stuart Epps at talk21.com. Email me and I'll give you all the details for buying this brilliant audio disc. Thank you. Bye.
DJC Music and DJC Productions are pleased to announce a brand new website. We have started a listing website for radio show hosts as well as potential show guests. This is a meeting site where hosts and guests can come together. Show hosts can list their show and types of guests they're interested in booking. Potential guests can list their talents, bio, accomplishments, or anything they feel makes them an interesting radio show guest. There are no recurrent payments, only a one-time $5 listing fee. Your listing will stay up until you decide to cancel. Previous guests of the Douglas Coleman Show are welcome to submit their guest listing free of charge. Go to radiohostsandguests.com. That's radiohostsandguests.com.
Tired of living in a culture of lies, fake news, and alternative facts? The Pro-Truth Pledge reverses the tide of lies by calling on politicians, and everyone else, to commit to truth-oriented behaviors. The pledge asks signees to commit to 12 behaviors that research in behavioral science shows lead to truthfulness, such as clarifying one's opinions and the facts, citing one's sources, and celebrating people who update their beliefs toward the truth. Private citizens who sign the pledge get the benefit of contributing to a more truth-oriented society. Public figures get more substantive rewards for signing the pledge in the form of positive media and public recognition. The pledge crowdsources the truth by asking volunteers to evaluate the statements of public figures who sign the pledge. Take the pledge, demand that your elected representatives do so, and encourage your friends to take it at protruthpledge.org.
Are you an independent musician? How would you like to have your songs played on hundreds of radio stations just like the one you're listening to right now? Join MusicSubmit.com and we'll promote your music to radio stations and blogs in your genre. It's free to set up your account, and we guarantee your music will be considered for airplay by radio stations worldwide. Why not sign up today? It's free. MusicSubmit.com. Radio promotion for indie musicians.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Ooh, don't know my own strength.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Okay, please welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show, Jeff Brandeis. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing great, Douglas. How about yourself?
Doing very well. Thank you very much. Let's see. You've got a book out, and you are also CEO of Brandeis Training Solutions. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir. Yes.
Okay. We'll talk about your book in a second. Give us just a little bit of background on yourself and how Brandeis Training Solutions came to be.
Great question, Douglas. So I actually went to college and got for accounting. I got my master's in taxation, and I worked in a CPA firm for about 5 years doing tax work and auditing. And my fifth year of being in public accounting, I got friendly with David, who's my co-author actually on the book, the RainMaker. And he was working for a tax processing company doing sales. And he asked me to come on board. And it was like, I'm an accountant. I don't get really much into doing sales or speaking in front of people because, we're not the stereotype accountants, but we're not usually the most extroverted type of people. You probably know a few accountants because you're laughing. But I went in for the interview. I took the job, and candidly, Douglas, I had a great time. I was going around to different firms. I was doing presentations, and I truly was enjoying the freedom that a sales career started to provide to me. I'll tell you a story as well, which is kind of a personal one, but I told my wife I was going to go into the sales role, and I'm going to go meet people, speak in front of 25, 100 people through a podium, and do sales calls. And she looked at me and goes, "You? Seriously? You're going to do that?" So, and like I said, I had a great time doing it. And it was like a personality that was inside of me that hadn't really come out. I'm still married to the same woman.
Well, that's good.
Even though the personality changed a little bit. But I had a great time. And then from there, I became a regional manager. I was a division manager, VP of sales, and I worked in the corporate world for 25 years. And I ran sales teams from as small as 5, and my biggest organization was an 85-man sales team. And so I hired, trained, I worked with, coached sales reps as well as sales managers. And then a couple of years ago, I started moving into creating, Brandeis training because I enjoy training. I really enjoy helping people, watching them grow individually, and training became my passion. And I continue along that way, and now I'm doing that and also a little bit of business coaching at the same time. So it's been an exciting career path for me, and one that's a little bit more unique as well, because you don't see too many accountants that actually become full-fledged sales folks.
What were you selling? I mean, you don't have to mention the brand name, but what was the product?
That I went to work for initially?
Right.
So I went to work for a company initially by the name of Fast Tax, FASTTAX, and then I went to work for a company by the name of CCH, which was acquired by Wolters Kluwer about 20 years ago. That's where I had most of my corporate career as a sales manager and VP of sales.
Okay. I just was curious what the product was that you were selling.
tax software, accounting software, practice
software.
management
Okay.
software.
Okay.
Software, yeah, software sales.
So when did you found Brandeis Training Solutions?
About 2.5 years ago,
So you're
that was founded.
fairly new company then, yeah?
Yes, I am. But it's been a good ride. I've enjoyed it. Love enjoying creating and building an entity as well. It's a learning process too.
Tell us a little about what you do. Is this you do seminars?
Yes, I do seminars. I've done public trainings. I was at a Sales 3.0 conference here in Orlando back in March before the pandemic hit. I do now. We're doing virtual trainings, obviously through Zoom or GoToMeeting, and there are some local trainings that we do as well. And we also have online classes, so people can go online and take our courses 24/7 if you would, and they're short videos, 4 to 7 minutes, typically each section, and then there's just a quick little exam as well. So it's live as well as virtual online training.
Okay. I'm just going to read something off the bio that I've got for you. It says, he has coached and trained over 40,000 salespeople to increase sales. Give me an example.
Yes.
Give me an idea of what you would do. I mean, that's easier said than done to increase sales, isn't it? I mean, you would have to. Is it an attitude shift, or what is it that you do with these people?
What I bring to the table, which I think is different than a lot of sales trainers, is because of my accounting background. One thing I learned in working for a CPA firm is the power of process. And when I think you look at salespeople in general, again, I'll make a general statement, is that they tend to skip steps in a sales process. And they're typically further ahead of in their sales cycle than where their client or prospect is. So they tend to forecast incorrectly. They don't measure the right, or companies aren't measuring the right performance indexes. So those are accountabilities because sales is measurable. I used to, when I coached reps, and I would tell them, the numbers tell me this, but you're telling me something totally different. All I can do is go by the numbers because that's what's in black and white. So help me understand what the numbers are telling me versus what you're trying to explain to me. Tough conversation, but that's part of being the manager.
I would presume that companies hire you to give seminars to their sales force to try to increase their sales. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely.
How long do these seminars usually go?
Sometimes, this is a great question because sometimes there's always we're having a national sales meeting. We want you to come in, and we want you to teach people how to, the correct way to go through their needs analysis, for example, and how to handle objections. And I'll go, that's great, and I'll do that, and I'm more than happy. But sales training, Douglas, it should not be a once a year event. It needs to be, practiced. It needs to be coached. It needs to have a cadence behind it for the people to really understand it and to change what they're doing today and to learn something new. So you have companies that just want you to come in for that once a year, and then I have companies that will say, great, I understand that. We'll hire you for 6 months or a year, and we will build a sales team. We'll track the results, and we'll basically be successful together, which is fantastic. I equate sales to, whether you're a baseball player, you're a tennis player, you're a musician, sales is a craft, and you really have to practice it, and you have to always look at ways that you can get better. And that's what I try to drive home is baseball players just don't take ground balls once a year, right? Or during the game. They have practices. They take shag fly balls. The tennis players practice serves. Salespeople, they got to practice. They got to learn new things.
What is the mark of a good salesperson? I mean, what would be the quality of this person that you would look for to say, okay, yeah, this guy's probably got it? Is there something? I mean, is it like actors or is it like musicians? Is there a particular trait that people that are generally good salespeople have?
When I was hiring salespeople, Douglas, I I always like to understand what their background was, what they grew up on, whether they played competitive sports. If they like to win, they were competitive. That's what I like in a salesperson, someone that wants to win. Sales is all about winning, to be very honest with you, because it's, you get a sale and you got to move on to the next sale. And you want to have people who want to be competitive. You want people that want to be number one, that they want to finish first. They want to set goals that are high. And those are the type of people that I try to look for, I find, and try to hire.
Okay. Is there a balance with that kind of a personality, though? Because I'm sure you've been, and I've certainly been in situations where, the quote-unquote high-pressure sale. And for a lot of people, that's a real turnoff. Where they might have bought the product initially, but once they encountered the salesperson, and the salesperson was just too pushy for their taste, and so they walked out of the store. How do you sort of balance the sales pressure throttle, if you will? You know when to back off and you know when to push, and there's kind of an art to that, isn't there?
Oh yes, there definitely is an art, and there's a science to sales, and it actually brings up another kind of a point of how I differentiate myself, if you would, versus other sales trainers. Is how people learn is how people buy. I'll repeat that. How people learn is how people buy. And when you're able to match your presentation to how they learn, you'll build rapport 3 times faster in 1/3 the time. So really what that does, it builds that credibility with you. And there's those visual learners, there are auditory learners, and there's a term called kinesthetic, where people like to kind of touch a brochure and read the brochure. So you can build that relationship and that rapport, and you're able to answer their questions the way they want to be, way they learn better. They'll understand you better, you'll understand them better, and that will eliminate that strife that you're talking about, where I didn't understand exactly what you were selling me. And, my expectations were different than what you told me. Because typically it's a learning style conflict. I mean, there's one thing if obviously the sales rep totally, oversells or the product, but typically it's the prospect didn't really understand something that the sales rep was saying because they were not on the same learning cycle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, actually. Let's get to your book. Let's mention your book. It's called Becoming a RainMaker. Is that the title or the subtitle?
Mm-hmm. That is the title, and
Okay.
It's a book that's geared towards accountants and CPAs. And the reason why I wrote it, and it's called RainMaker, is for accountants and CPAs to move up into a partner or become a principal in the firm, or even if I'm a sole practitioner. The term RainMaker means I'm booking business in the accounting terminology. I'm bringing in clients, I'm growing revenue, and I'm hearing that RainMaker term being used a little bit more often actually in other industries as well. And that's why the title of the book is Becoming a RainMaker.
Okay. So it's a guide for accountants and CPAs. I'm not sure I understand what that is, because what are you teaching them?
So in the book, it teaches them about sales and the terminology that they should be using. And the other aspect of the book is, as I started talking about, the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic styles of how people learn, is a process that's called Neuro Linguistic Programming. And it's all about the mind, if you would, and subliminal messages, and about making your presentation work to your prospects. So if you have the husband that says, hey, show me your brochure, and the wife says, I want to tell me about how you can save me taxes. Those are 2 different learning styles. One said, show me, and the other one said, tell me. So the accountant needs to be able to, or the CPA needs to be able to address and answer both learning styles at the same time. And that's what the book goes into, kind of, so that they can learn how to sell. Because as an accountant, as I said earlier, selling wasn't really one of my fortes. And most accountants or CPAs were never trained or never learned or don't even know really how to sell. They went to school for accounting and they got a degree in accounting, but there's no such thing as a sales degree out of college. So my book was trying to help them become better salespeople and build better relationships with their clients.
Where are your books available? Are they available on, well, you said one's coming out, but where is the other one available?
They'll both be available on Amazon, in the bookstore.
Very quickly, we got to wrap this up. Do you have a website you want to give out?
Sure. The website for myself is Jeff Brandeis, JeffBrandeis.com. We'll also have links and a little bit more information about the books. Brandeistrainingsolutions.com. Or I have another one that kind of links to that is everybodysellssomething.com.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, a little bit more catchy of a phrase. everybodysellssomething.com.
Well, it's very true. Well, Jeff, thanks a lot for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Hi, this is John Morgan, production supervisor for DJC Productions. You're listening to The Douglas Coleman Show.